就叫你下去了。
And tablets in flight safe mode, unless advised by the crew. Headphones or earphones must not be worn during taxi, takeoff, and landing. All carry-on items, including laptop and notebook computers.
各位乘客，请代表我们的飞行员和所有的空服员联称为 Skippy， 欢迎搭乘下值联盟合作伙伴酷航。飞机马上就要起飞了，如果您需要任何帮助，请联络我们的 Skippy。祝您旅途愉快。
Takeoff station, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt sign is now off. For your safety, please keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated.
您可以通过酷航机上电子数位应用程序 Scoot 浏览菜单或购买餐点或饮料金。如果您在20分钟内尚未收到餐点或饮料金，及时告知空服员。
local time is 2:09 p.m. and the ground temperature is reported to be 26 degrees Celsius. And with air traffic permitting, we will be landing at 2:45 p.m. local time. Your safety and well-being are our utmost importance to us, and we seek your understanding and cooperation.
各位乘客，根据机长的广播，本航班将在当地时间2点45分抵达台北桃园国际机场。
Station.
Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened and your window shades are drawn up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Taipei. We have arrived early, 10 minutes ahead of schedule. The local time now is 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon. Please remember to collect your transit card from the ground staff when leaving the aircraft. You will need to pass through the security channel before reboarding the aircraft. When you reboard the aircraft, please return to your allocated seat.
Can we go about the